Hi guys, and welcome to a new episode of Grenzenlos, your dance podcast. I'm here with Julia and Sarah today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Queen, for having us. So excited.
We're excited as well. Wanted to have you for a longer time already. So we're really excited that we finally made it.
It's finally happening. Finally, you all can hear our beautiful, extremely phenomenal voices.
Yes.
It's actually low-key, that's like actually one of the reasons why I wasn't ready when you first asked us.
But a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that.
I don't know if my voice is for that type of thing, but yeah, we're here today, so.
But you're not the only one saying that. And I'm like, oh, that's the reason.
Yeah.
I'm also still not used to it.
I mean, it's fine. It's like really weird because especially like as dancers, like you always watch yourself dance, but you never like
you don't
hear yourself.
Obviously.
But then again, I'm like, all my students, like they have to hear me all the time, obviously. But for me, it's like I don't hear myself. You know what I mean? So I'm ready now to speak. Yeah, we're here.
Yes, amazing. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves like in a few sentences?
Yes. So for anyone who doesn't know, we're Julia, it's my twin sister Sarah, and yeah, like I just said, literally we're twin sisters, and we are professional dancers, choreographers, and we teach dance. And it's been a while, so
we teach heels dance.
Yeah, heels dance. It's been a while that we've been doing this, so super excited to share our perspective and what we stand for.
I think I want to start with this topic. You guys have been working together for quite some while.
Yeah.
And like, I can say this because P and me, we already said it. Sometimes we're really discussing about stuff for Grenzenlos, and like we're not sisters, you know, like we can be apart if we need to.
Yeah,
and we're really close friends, but sometimes we're discussing really bad, you know. So how does it work for you working together? You also lived together for years, right?
Yeah. So I think first of all we have to say that we are very close, which if you don't really know about twins, you might think, oh my god, of course you're close, you're twins, which yes, I would say naturally you would be close to your twin sister, your twin brother. But there's also like a lot of twins who actually, because it's like the pressure of like being so similar, who like want to separate themselves and like build a unique personality like early on, like
a completely different life,
or maybe sometimes even as a kid, like when you're split in school. For us, that never. I mean, it did happen now, but it didn't happen for a very long time. So I would say we used to be we're still close, but we used to be like almost like one person. But it sounds really weird, but
it's not that easy calling you apart. So
but it used to be much worse. Like it used to be much harder to tell us apart, and also like energetically, I think we were so much more attached to each other. Now I feel like, or like since I don't know 3 years I guess, or not 5 years ish I think. Yeah, I'm saying 3 years. 5 years ish. Like we've started to, separate more energetically and like understand that we're both like separate human beings. But for a while it was, and especially when we started to dance, we were like super close. And so for us, it was always very natural. Like it was something that we didn't really discuss. Like it was never something like, hey, what do you want to do in life? And she was like, yeah, I want to dance. And the other person was like, I don't really want to, but I kind of want to follow you. It was always like something that we never really talked about. It just naturally happened. Both of us were just falling in love with dance. And then we just, of course, in the beginning, we just did it for fun. And then eventually it just made sense to do it professionally and to do it together because we were like super close. And so it was like almost like a superpower. I mean, it still is, but
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, like it is challenging too sometimes. I mean, in general, I always say being a twin is like a blessing and a curse. I mean, it's really like, it's amazing. I don't know any other life, you know? Like for me, it's like, for me, I could ask you like, how is it to not have a twin? You know what I mean? It's so
I don't even have siblings, like I'm an only child, like, so I can't imagine at all actually.
But it's like sometimes people ask us like, what's it like to be a twin? And I'm like, I don't know, to me it's like normal, you know what I mean? But anyways, with all that being said, we just always, we're super close, and sometimes it is hard to be that close and like to work together. I think, anyone out there who maybe works with a partner or a family member or even like a really good friend can relate that it's definitely a relationship that you have to nurture and maybe not take things so personal sometimes. Like it's the business and personal side. So we do have like times where we fight about stuff related to our work. I mean, it's usually never something that we don't agree on, because we usually agree on most of the things, but just like tiny things that we fight about. Like, are you gonna do the warm-up today? No, I don't want to do it today because my leg hurts. My leg hurts too. And then it's like weird things like that, you know what I mean? So however, if there is like fights or like misunderstandings or, you know, things like that, still at the end of the day, I think we come together and like you just feel when you're like, I feel that I'm supposed to do this with her. Maybe not forever, you know what I mean? Like, who knows what life throws at you, but it's like this inner knowing and like purpose that we have. I'm sure like it's kind of like spiritual in a way, but I'm sure the universe, God, source, whatever you want to believe in, didn't bring us into this earth to be twins and then to have like completely different lives. I mean, of course, like if that happens to you, that's like fine. Right. But like for us, I feel like whoever created us wanted us to be like super powerful, and like it's almost like one person wasn't enough, in Anführungszeichen. If you watch,
in Anführungszeichen.
What's the English term? I don't know. Like
Entenfüßchen.
Yeah. So of course, like everyone is enough alone, but like I feel like we are here to be like super powerful together, like as two people being like one force. So at the end of the day, even though it's hard sometimes, we still come back naturally together. I think that's what makes us authentic also in our sisterhood, because us as a brand, I don't know if you said it in the introduction, but our brand, our brand is called Power Pumps. And so our brand, I mean, we'll get into that later too, but it does also stand for sisterhood and like female empowerment, you know, just in general, like women loving each other and supporting each other. And so for us, that is literally our life. That I chose a woman. I mean, maybe I didn't choose her, but it's like I could have also like separated myself from her. So for me, like choosing the sisterhood, I think makes it authentic that we also work with women, and that when we say like love each other, it's because I also love her. You know what I mean?
It's not fake woman empowerment, honey. It's real.
So I don't know if that made sense, but I think that's what actually makes it maybe believable for us. And it's weird because that didn't click for me in the beginning, because again, it's so natural for me to like be with her. But I think like for other people looking in, maybe they're like, wow, that's really inspiring that they, you know, two sisters, that they really, you know, care for each other. I mean, if you've been to our class, you know, there's sometimes like sisterly bitch fights going on a little bit. Sometimes. But then everyone laughs, so it's like, oh my God, that's so relatable. But, you know, still like overall, I think, it's
I wouldn't have it
embodiment.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I think it really shines through the power you mentioned. Like one person wasn't enough. I see that, I feel that. But I think it's really special because, you know, it's like you guys, you choose to be together, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, sure. And along our way, there was always people that are like, even like sometimes people that wanted to book us for something, they're like, oh, but maybe can just only one person come and do the job, or whatever the case might be. Maybe it was also a money thing. I don't know. But like people, I feel like did always kind of wanted to separate us in a way a little bit. Also in school, like back in the day. Very unintentional though, I think. But I mean, maybe not in school because people can, or like kids can be rude, but it's very unintentional sometimes when people are like, hey, can only one person teach, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really happen a lot, but sometimes it does. But we're always like, hey, we're like a team, you know, we're like a brand. Like, of course, like one can exist without the other, but we just prefer to do it together.
I think we just had both experience, or have both experiences all the time, where some people, they are like empowered, like they think it's amazing that we're two people, and they just maybe like being in our energy. And then there's other people who are maybe the other way, who are maybe intimidated by that like double energy, or maybe feel like threatened by it because maybe they feel alone because we're like together, and all of a sudden they feel like they're just by themselves in a way. So it's like we have both experiences, like with people. Some appreciate it, some are threatened by it. So it's always been like that.
About the job situation you mentioned, I recently just listened to a podcast and somebody was telling about, I think it was his story, I don't quite remember who it was, that actually in the commercial world, twins are like really popular to be booked, because often people search for people who look similar.
It's like a product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you guys experience that as well?
That's a good question. I think naturally I would say yes. Like it was always a bonus in a way, or like like a superpower, like I said in the beginning. It is something that not everybody has. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think it is special, and I think it is unique, and I think it is smart for an artist to, or like a brand, whatever, to book twins, because usually they look alike, usually they dance alike, because maybe they have the same training, and usually they have the same body type. So it is smart, and yes, I think we have like some experience in that. However, in general, I have to say, Sarah and I don't really get booked a lot for music videos, commercials, stages, and I don't know why actually. Maybe it's because I'm not putting the energy out there. We're super focused on being teachers at the moment. However, it is something, of course, that we're still passionate about. We have done like the work, just right now not so much, but I do think that it's like a smart choice.
So if there's any twins watching this, if there's any twins watching this who maybe also want to be a creative in a way, I would say if you have a good relationship, I would say use that advantage. I mean, of course, like always ask yourself like if you really want to do this, but again, like I'll say it again, sometimes as twins we get pressured to like separate from each other. So don't separate from your sister even though you feel like you want to do something with her creatively, artistically, just because maybe everyone's telling you to do your own thing. So I would say use it to your advantage if it feels good that you want to do something with your twin, or even like a sister that's maybe your age, or
Do we want to talk a little bit about you guys being independent now? You're independent since 2 years, right? 3 years?
3 years.
Corona,
yes,
it was,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, actually, we've always kind of, well, I guess we started teaching.
Or actually, let's
rewind
a little bit, because maybe, sometimes it's like, it sounds weird, but I don't mean it in a weird way. Like sometimes I assume, because I know that everyone knows that we're self-employed, like independent, and that we have our brand. So maybe it's good before we start like talking into it to just say right off the bat to say that we are self-employed since 2020. So we have our own brand, which is called Power Prompts, as I said before, which is actually a company. So it's not just I don't know, something that I just gave a name. It's actually an existing company. And so before we start, so it's just it's good to know.
So we started teaching at the end of 2017, which is how many years ago? 5 years?
5, 6,
no,
oh my god, 6 years, right?
I mean,
no, 6.
It's gonna be 6 years at the end of the year. So
can we go a little bit more back?
Yeah,
where you
back.
guys started actually? Because you started with 20.
I was born on June 12th. No, I'm just kidding. We started dancing when we were 18, so we actually started pretty late. Usually you hear like, I started dancing when I was 4. I did like ballet, like when I was 4, jazz, all the things. For us, we started late, which I do feel like we are how you say, like a living embodiment of, it doesn't matter when you start, it only matters that you start, if you want to start. So and at the end of the day, we are now professionals, so even that shows that if you want to be professional, you don't have to start at 4. Of course, I'm sure you have advantages, but anyways, we started late when we were 18. But we did start with ballet and like the fundamentals of dance, I guess.
At this moment, did you know that it was a fundamental, or did you just choose ballet? Because was it already like, let's get the foundations? Or was it just a coincidence?
I think there's different reasons. One of the reasons is our best friend, Shaki.
Hey.
She's been our friend for over 10 years, and she, like, back when we used to live in near Linz, she actually just said to us one day, hey, I'm semester is starting, because she used to dance like way before we did, And so she's doing ballet, and if we want to join and just take this semester with her to do ballet. So yes, she definitely like inspired us to start a specific style. So I would say it was literally low-key this bitch did it. Sorry, can I swear here?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay.
You're allowed to, yes.
So anyway, so yeah, it was this, but it was also our influence or inspiration by the Pussycat Dolls, which, of course, like if you watch the Pussycat Dolls, like Don't Cha Buttons back in the day, you don't really think, oh my god, they're such good ballerinas. Of course, you don't think that, but it's like, you know, we used to be such fans, like we used to listen to interviews, like what they were saying, and then, you know, they did emphasize their dance background a lot, especially like
they started as dancers actually.
So they did like speak a lot about their dance training and experience, and a lot of them did say like they used to start with ballet, of course, so that inspired us too in a way. But I would say it's a mix of everything, a little bit of coincidence, coincidence, and a little bit of just this inner intuition as well, and just our friend telling us to go to ballet, and then we really liked it.
My inner intuition let that go really quick, because I also started with ballet. I went for 1 month, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. Yeah. And then I turned around and was like, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore.
It's definitely a lot if you're 18 and you start with ballet, because your body's saying nope. Like your body's like, what are you doing? But yeah, we kind of like always knew that we wanted to do professional at the end of the day. So we also had like
beginning on.
I would say like, yeah, when we started to dance at home before we went in the studio, like dancing the Pussycat Dolls choreographies, like it almost like ignited a fire in us. And then we always knew that something bigger was destined for us, like something bigger is gonna happen for us. And then yeah, it just turned into like having a good mindset to really train. Like we used to train so much every week,
and so many different styles.
Yeah, we used to drive like 45 hours with the car to get to the studio, like while working a 40-hour job, and like train like 5 times a week. So like we used to like be in a, I mean, we're still in a good mindset, like let's not get twisted, but like you know, you have to put yourself in a mindset when you know that you want to do it professionally.
You need to be dedicated.
Yeah, so even though like, yeah, of course ballet can be like boring, like you know what I mean, like it can be very like one-dimensional, but we still like pushed to do it for 2 years, even though it was hard. But like we wanted to have that foundation and that understanding in your body, which I think ballet gives you 100%. And it's always something as well that we encourage our students to do, is to go into a ballet class, go into a jazz class, go into a, I don't know, contemporary class, like go into those fundamental styles, because heels, what we do is not just a heel, right? It's like influenced by so many styles, and ballet especially, I think, gives you so much understanding in your legs, right? I mean, your whole body, but yeah. It's super important.
And so also, we knew maybe something interesting that maybe also someone doesn't know is that I mean, you just literally said, yeah, we were just talking about it. We started with ballet and contemporary, like those kind of styles, and jazz. So ballet, contemporary, jazz. And so we did that for a couple of years, and then we started to take like hip hop classes, commercial classes, and then we did heels.
Yeah.
So heels was like the last thing, even though watching the Pussycat Dolls, like when we were not even in a studio yet, we knew that that's where we wanted to end up. So we knew we wanted to end up in the heels because they were also wearing heels. So of course, like that's the first thing we noticed, and it's like, oh my god, that's so amazing. And so we knew that we wanted to end up in a heel, but we actually didn't start there. And I think it's not a mistake. Okay, it's not a mistake if you start there, but it's something that I see a lot nowadays, because I mean, I also have to say, disclaimer, you know, like 10 years ago, there were no heels classes. So even if I wanted to take them, I could not. So,
and especially not in Austria.
So I'm not going to take like credit. I would like for that whole thing. I mean, it was also like, I just didn't have the availability to take a heels class. But I'm also saying like, maybe you can learn something from, you know, our journey to maybe not start in a heels class if you want to take a heels class, but to start somewhere else, and which is really bad advertisement for my brand.
Yes. But I think it's important that you say it, because like I feel the same. I have the feeling that people often forget that there was a journey that this person is now where she is.
Yeah.
And they did a lot of styles before, and you try to go into her class and be like her in one moment, you know.
Yeah.
But there's like a journey of so many different styles that led to the style that this person is dancing now.
That's so true. So yeah, that's basically like our dance journey, and I think maybe let's talk about like LA later. I think we can talk about this later. I don't want to already go into this, but yeah, we used to train a lot, and then, you know, the natural progression of that would be to start teaching. And I think it was like more like an accident almost, and it actually is something, it's so funny when I think about it now, but it's actually like choreographing, especially choreographing and like teaching, was something that we always actually were like, no, I don't want to do it.
Like, I can't see myself doing that.
I don't see myself doing that, but I think
teaching, like, both. Okay.
Yeah, both. And it's so funny because I think that was just the fear speaking, like the fear of the, almost like the fear of, it's almost like it was the key, and like I almost knew, but I was just afraid to unlock it, you know what I mean?
Okay. Sometimes you are the lock and the key.
Yeah, and so, I don't know, and then it just happened accidentally because a friend of ours back in the day, he was like, hey, we were training with him, he was like, hey, why don't we like pick a couple people and just randomly for fun try to do a class, like try to teach. And we're like, a little bit scared about it, but let's try. And then we tried, and so many people showed up, and we're super lucky because it was in the old studio that we used to train at, so everybody that we trained with, you know, joined the class. It was super fun, super like with our friends, and it was a lot of people, and we fell in love with it. And literally ever since that first class that we taught, we knew that this was something that could heal so many other people, so many other women especially, because the feedback was amazing. Even though it was our first class, I'm sure like the teaching was shit, but it was like we had a feeling that it was doing something with people. It was like inspiring them in a way, so that really is what made us want to do it like more and more.
However, I do have to say and emphasize a little bit that it was a journey. I mean, the way you explain it right now didn't really sound like it was a journey, but there were like people before that who like used to like ask us like, why don't you teach? Like, don't you think that's like something that you would want to do? And I think it was just that specific person, that specific moment that like led us to something. And I can't even explain why. I mean, of course, like we did have a friendship with each other. Maybe that was also a point, but it's not like the first person who like brought the idea to us and we were like, oh yeah, let's do it. I mean, it was like a processing journey of should we do it, should we not do it, should we do it, should we not do it? And then we finally decided to do it. And even after teaching our first class, we didn't like immediately like think about when are we gonna do it next. It was very inconsistent the way we were teaching, because after teaching we of course like immediately felt like the responsibility of, you know, being a teacher, and of course we still wanted to even get even better in our heels foundation and heels technique, because that's what we instantly knew from the first class, that we want to really honor the heels technique and not just teach steps, and you know, our friends are gonna show up anyways, but we really wanted to teach heels dance, especially because there was non-existent. I mean, maybe in Vienna there was also a little bit going on already, but this was like back in the day when we were still.
Where did you guys get the technique and the heels knowledge from when there was nothing in Austria?
Yeah, we definitely had to travel to LA. We've been there a few times, and one of the first heels technique class that we ever took was by Kira Hopper. Do you know her?
Yeah,
she's a legend. Yeah,
of course I do.
She's a legend, and so it was back in the day in the old ML movement lifestyle, which happy that they're back, by the way. Anyways, so yeah, and she taught us a lot of stuff about heels technique, a lot of vocabulary that we are now bringing into our classes. And I think that is also now like so many terms that I feel like we have brought from Kira Harper to Vienna, and a lot of teachers use now. So she has definitely had a big influence on us. And of course, choreo classes we took from Bryn Nicole. Who else back in the day? Do you remember?
I mean, it was also Jersey.
Yeah,
Jersey and Charlene a little bit.
Like all of the OGs that used to teach at Millennium.
Like even the old Millennium. I don't even know if you guys know that there's an old Millennium, but
I did not know that.
There's an old Millennium.
I've been to the one that's right now is already old, you know, already feels old, but there was an older version.
Yeah, so definitely LA is, I think, still is like such a huge influence from like the style in LA, the hill styles that they have there. But we had to travel.
Where you guys got your knowledge from to then bring it to Austria.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely. And so then we did start to teach like here and there in Upper Austria, in Wales and Linz, stuff like this. And then we did move to Vienna. When was it?
The year after, and I think actually a few months after we moved to Vienna.
Yeah. So this is already like 5 years ago, kind of around.
You're only 5 years in Vienna?
Yeah.
For me, you're here forever.
I know, yeah.
Okay, but I'm in Vienna since a year, so it's not like that big of a deal. But like seeing you, I watched the whole dance scene from abroad since years, you know.
Yeah.
So, but you guys were here for me forever already.
If you would hear me speak German right now, you would know that the girl is not from Vienna.
That was so fun because when I heard you guys first talking, like I always saw your videos, you know, and I completely like, I don't know, not that I had like a wrong impression because I didn't have any impression because who am I to judge anybody from videos, of course, you know, but I expected so different, kind of, I don't know.
It's like my voice is deep and like really cracking like that.
And you guys, you have a lot of power in your dancing, right? But I thought you would be like the lovely, cute girls, you know, being like, but you have like so much power and you're like, you know, really. And when I heard you talking, like, oh that's completely not what I imagined you guys how you would talk.
It's usually the opposite. Like the ones that look like angels are definitely not, and vice versa. So I don't know.
I think it's not just our voice. I mean, this is a little bit off topic right now. It's definitely not just our voice. I think it's in general, and that's why I'm also really thankful that we can be here today and talk to you, and like for people to listen and get to know us better, because I think it's also a thing that a lot of people see us and they see our videos, especially because we're not super private on our Instagram page. We don't really like talk on our Instagram page. We don't show a lot of personality. Maybe maybe if you read the captions and things like
show
this,
a lot of personality in your dance.
Yes,
in the
classes, but there's so many people who can't figure that out. You know, they can't feel that. Like they need to see you talk in a story and be like, hey guys, you know. Anyway, so I think it's also another misconception maybe, or like assumptions that people have of us, that we're like super bitchy and mean and like mean girls kind of. And then when they get to know us and we talk to them, it's like all the time, like people say, oh my god, I never expected you to be so nice, so funny. I mean, I know it sounds really cocky, but I'm fucking funny, okay? maybe today I'm a little bit nervous because I'm doing this podcast thing or whatever, but I'm funny, okay? So
it actually happened to us last weekend when we were in Bulgaria. Literally, a woman that took our class, she came to us after class. She was like, you know what? Actually, I thought like, just watching your videos, I was like, nah, they're too bitchy. Like, I don't want to take this class.
She was actually taking the class before us, and then she was leaving. And as she was leaving, she saw us talking to other girls.
Can I finish the story? Thank you. She told us, she was like, I didn't want to take the class because I actually thought you guys were like super bitchy, like just by watching the video. But then I saw you talking outside of the studio with the other girls, and I was like, oh my god, they're actually really nice. Let me take the class. And she loved it. You know what I mean? So yeah, we do have like a little bit of assumptions there from people, but it's fine, you know.
You know, like all the Instagram and the reality, it's like
I will let my energy in real life do the work. So yeah,
but I never thought that you guys would be like bitchy or mean or anything. For me, it was just like I expected your personality
differently
from the videos, but it was like, you know, like the main thing, how like maybe a stereotype that was like, you know. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it was like a stereotype or whatever that was like in my head at this moment, or like, you know, I think we all have like expectations or like we imagine how somebody would be.
Right.
And especially if you watch somebody on Instagram for a year or longer and then you meet the person in real life, obviously it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
But you already have expectations yourself because you have been watching this person, making up your mind about this person for so long. but that's not the reality. So I think that's like a general social media thing that is happening.
Yeah. I'm sure it doesn't just happen to us.
Yeah. So I don't know where we left off. I think we actually wanted to talk about being self-employed.
Like how we started
Let's go back to that.
No, actually we moved to Vienna. We said we moved to Vienna.
Now we're in Vienna.
Yeah. So we're in Vienna, and we started teaching at a workshop base. So it was, like Sarah said, really inconsistent. Whenever we would feel like teaching, we would teach. And I think we had a lot of luck as well, maybe. Of course, like it's always hard work, but we had a lot of luck because when we came to Vienna, I feel like people wanted to take a heels class so bad.
I think you had the perfect time.
Momentum. Perfect moment, perfect time. So I think we caught like the right wave of teaching heels. And we also had like a bigger studio like supporting us back in the day, but not really, because we were not like regular teachers there. We would just rent the space. But because the studio already had like a bigger audience, I think it was also like playing in our favor a little bit. So then it started like getting like bigger momentum each time that we would teach. And then eventually, of course, because this takes time, you can't just be self-employed like after one successful class, you know what I mean? Like it takes time. And then there was a point where we're like, okay, do we want to go all in and like really focus 100% on being teachers, being self-employed, like paying all the things, you know what I mean? And then has to be a point where you decide, and then we just decided, yes, we need to do this now. And so a few years later, 2020, actually during COVID, we were like, now we're gonna start. Making it like official, you know, because we've been teaching we started teaching regularly in 2020, so every week, and then COVID hit, and then of course we couldn't, but we had already had a lot of experience. We had a lot of clients, a lot of people wanting to take class. So even though it was COVID, we knew now we just had to do it. Like we didn't want COVID to take it away from us.
I think it's because we had thought about it for a while. So we were just like, let's just do it no matter what comes, you know. Yeah. So, and actually, like talking to people, a lot of people started their companies, businesses during COVID. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of also like had to close down, but so maybe it inspired a lot of people too in a way, you know. But yeah. So since 2020, we're officially business owners, which is, I don't think a lot of people can say that in this industry that we have, especially in Austria.
Yes.
So we're super grateful, and it's been a whirlwind, but we're still here, we're going strong. And I think I'm especially proud of our journey, because we don't come from a wealthy family. We don't have rich parents who maybe were able to, you know, make things happen for us without us having to maybe work or like, so because there's, you know, there is a thing, which when I'm saying this, guys, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but there's like, of course, like people who have parents who support them financially so they can focus on art, dance, or just opening a business, whatever scenario, because it does need a lot of your focus and time and attention. And money, and sometimes it's hard when you have a job next to it to like, I'm sure like a lot of people can relate right now who maybe work a job but they know that they want to maybe become a dancer or a teacher or a singer, like anything creative. So for us, our mama, if you're watching this, I'm sorry you can't understand English, but I love you. She will figure it out. She'll figure this shit out. She will be like, somehow she will translate this and understand everything.
I think there's like the translation should be like on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe. I will explain it to you, Mom.
If it works.
I will explain it to you, Mom. Okay. Anyways, so we do have our mom, which is like has always been very supportive emotionally, and of course also financially, like as much as she could, but we were not like having a lot of money. So that is also a huge thing. Like, thank God we had a mom that like really always supported us. Like even until now, she like always posts our videos, even if I'm like dancing in a string bikini. She's like posting it in the story, like, that's my girls, my queens.
I love that. I love that. I'm always thinking about it twice if I send the videos to my grandparents or family members. But yes, I love that.
So yeah, anyways, we guess never had that advantage, which again, I will say it again, it's not bad if you have this advantage, but it's just If you don't have it, it's maybe a little bit harder. So there was a time where obviously we had to work regular jobs, even though we don't work regular jobs anymore because we can't do the dance thing full time. There has been a time where we had to work regular jobs. We had many different jobs. And so anyone watching who might be in this position, like if you're working right now, it doesn't mean that you're stuck there forever. But that's like why I'm especially proud, because I feel like we genuinely worked for everything that we had. Of course, everything is also a little bit, timing, momentum, luck, talent, all the things that also play a part, of course. But it's also like hard work and like how bad do you want it. And we used to make such big sacrifices a lot. But for us, it was not, it didn't feel like, oh, bad, now I have to make a sacrifice. Oh, now I'm sad because I can't go shopping this month or because I can't go on vacation. It was natural for us to like make these kind of sacrifices. I think this is a good indicator. If you are on this journey and you have to make sacrifices because you're gonna have to, how does it feel for you to make those sacrifices? Is it like natural for you? Of course, like I have to make sacrifices, or are you like, oh, I don't want to make those sacrifices? That's like a good indicator to how bad you want it, and of course that's also like a factor in how successful you're gonna be, like how bad do you really want it. So that made sense. I sometimes go off a little bit because my brain is like thinking all these things, but
that's what podcasts are for, right?
Yeah.
so no, but I totally get that. I feel it really deeply because also like compared to friends of mine, like close friends who are not dancers, I'm like, oh, let's not go eat. Let's do something else. I need to save my money for classes, And they're like, it's just 15 euros. We can go eat. I'm like, but 15 euros is a dance class as well.
No, it's true.
So I totally get that.
To be honest, nowadays, if it's 15 euros, that's a good price. Like, I feel like it's also getting more expensive. Dance is getting more expensive. Like, and I don't want dance to be a luxury. Like, I don't want dance to be something that it's not affordable anymore.
But it is like, if you think about like becoming a dancer, it's not like an education that is like you go to university or you pay university in semesters or whatever, but you pay a lot of money to get to the point where you can work as a dancer. You have to pay a lot of classes, and I have the feeling people forget that. And then like I hated it, and then they're like, oh, we don't have money to buy you, but it's an experience, you can do the job. And I'm like, you forget about all the years and about all the money that I put in my education, but nobody sees it as an education. But I'm totally with you, like dance classes, and like I love flat rates, and you have the possibility to dance a lot and to get the training. But especially like I know Peru is a third world country, and I'm back to talking about Peru. I'm sorry, guys.
Go off. Go off.
But it's like a dance class there. Obviously, they have like different economic system, and but like me going there, it's like you pay. I think the most expensive dance class I took was 10 euros, and the rest was like 5 euros. But like quality level, twice as high or 3 times as high as Austria, and you get pushed way more. And that's like, and they have like a different system and everything. And I was like, compared to that in Austria, when I told them, like, I think it was like 60 soles, 70 soles there would be the price for an Austrian dance class. They were like, we could take like 3 classes with that price, and they didn't believe, and it was like, dancing in Austria is like really expensive actually.
So I mean, the thing is also, if I had a dance studio, I would definitely be able to like offer a lower rate because I would have more teachers, more classes, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
However, it's because we are our own brand, and it's just us teaching for our own brand, or like studio if you want to call it. Of course, like I have to raise my price, but what I guess essentially what I wanted to say is, I don't want dance to be a luxury one day. I want dance to be like accessible for anyone, you know what I mean? I guess maybe like we're moving in a different direction.
I think now it depends. Now, are we talking, do you want to become a professional or not? Because I think you're talking obviously like just in general, like the everyday person that just wants to move their body and like learn a new skill. Of course, like for those people, yes, I agree, like it shouldn't feel like a luxury. But again, like we were just talking about this, if you're if you're wanting to become a professional, like it's again like a sacrifice that you have to make to invest into your career, even though there's not a guarantee, like you're paying all this money and at the end of the day there's no guarantee someone will hire you, you will get a job or anything.
We love it.
So that's again like the thing that you just have to take the risk, like connecting to what I said before, like if you're currently in a situation where you're working a normal job because you still have to pay your bills, because you just want to learn valuable life skills, maybe working a normal job, because that also helps. Like sometimes, you know, off topic a little bit, as dancers we think that we don't need to have like normal people skills, but it's like it can actually help you, especially if you want to run a business later. But anyway, so it's like if you're in this situation right now, there has to be a moment someday where you have to quit your job and focus full time on dance. But it's like individual for everyone, you know, it feels different for everyone when the timing is right. Some people can quit earlier, others, you know, takes longer, which is totally fine. But again, like the risk and it's just comes with dance. We're literally risking our body every time, you know, like that alone, like we're risking the health of our body. But it's just,
but it's worth it.
It's what it is.
No, and I think when it comes again a little bit back to the price situation, I think it's like a two-sided sword, because of course you don't want it to get more expensive, but at the same time we want to support the artists, especially people who are self-employed and do it themselves, you know. It's like, and especially I think in Austria it's like a thing, being a dancer is not like an established thing. It's not like I think it is like that. I'm pretty sure, you know.
Yeah.
Because of the industry or
we don't have really an industry. I think that's
so people don't take it seriously.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it's like a two-sided sword, because you don't want it to be like a luxury, but at the same time you really want to get the recognition, and you want it to be like a better scene. You want the people to be more supported and everything. So it's like I think you need to find like a balance. Yeah. Because obviously it won't work like I told you guys, from like in Peru.
Yeah.
Obviously, and they have a much bigger dance scene, so they have more people dancing, and for them they can make cheaper prices because they have 30 people in a class.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it's a little bit different. Yeah, but let's go back to the topic actually.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are now teaching since
5 years-ish.
Yes, 5 years-ish. You're also teaching internationally now. Yes, you're going on tour, not for the first time.
Yeah.
Do we want to dive a little bit into that one?
So tour, meaning teaching tour. So we actually started teaching internationally last year. Was it last year? Sometimes I'm really bad with my timelines, but I think
consistently last year. Yes, consistently. I think our first international workshop was in Munich, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. But like consistently, yes, last year we started.
So we're like I would say now teaching a lot internationally, and maybe it's interesting. What's interesting about this, because as you're listening, you're like, okay, good for you, you're teaching internationally, but maybe what we can share like throughout this whole thing is that maybe how we got into it, or how we made it happen for us. Because a lot of times we might think someone has to know you and they have to invite you to teach, which of course, that's like, I would say, the end goal situation for you to know so many people, and or for you to be so known internationally as well, that people just know you and want to invite you to teach. But there's no such thing as an audition to audition for a teaching job. Like it would be in the dancing world. So the way we did it is, in the beginning we used to send emails to a lot of different studios that we felt connected to, and that we knew that they have a heels audience. So we used to send out so many emails, just like introducing ourselves, like a short bio, and like Instagram and social things. And we didn't used to do that in the beginning, but now we do it. If we send out those kind of emails, we like already send our conditions, like our rates and all the conditions that we have. And then we just send it, and let's say like out of 50 emails that we send, maybe like 5 people are coming back. So it's not like all the 50 people that you write to that will text back and it will become a job opportunity. But that's how we sometimes do it. I mean, a lot of our international teaching jobs is also connections by now. So I would say it's like 50-50. Some of those teaching workshops are, them emailing us, hey, we want you to teach here. But the other half is like us reaching out and like literally knocking on the door and being like, hey, this is us. Like, if you want to do like work together, do something, organize something, we would love to. And so I think this is maybe a little bit unconventional. Maybe not everyone.
I don't know. I think a lot of dancers actually do that. Like what I heard.
Okay.
A lot of people told me nobody is going to ask if you want to teach. If you want to teach something, go and do it yourself. Don't wait for somebody to ask you. Yeah. Because they're not gonna ask you. Because we have a lot of classes. There are enough teachers. So if you want it, just go for it. Like that's what most people.
But that's like the good mindset. I feel like because if you wanna be somewhere, if you have goals, you have to put yourself out there, right? You cannot, especially if you live in a smaller city like Vienna, you have to create your own opportunities. You have to not be afraid to put yourself out there. You have to completely put your ego to the side and be like, no, I'm gonna do this. It doesn't matter what they think, what they might think. Like you have to be like not afraid to.
Yeah, I think sometimes you might think, and I'm just showing the possibilities of how people might think. You might think it's only valuable if someone is asking you. But if I'm asking, it's desperate. It's like this kind of thing, like it's worth more if someone asks you because that's a compliment, that's flattering. So I think that it doesn't matter. It's just that you have this job, period. And it's not like this way is like a very ethical way, Like I didn't hurt anyone by asking, Of course, of course, if I would do some shady shit to get into like all this circle, of course, like that's a different story, but it's like totally fine. So it's just as much worth as if someone would just invite you. So I think it's that a little bit that sometimes you think it's not, I asked for it, so. It doesn't matter. And with time it does actually come that the more you do it, that people actually like reach out to you and just ask you. And so another good way is also to train somewhere, like at a camp or intensive convention, somewhere else abroad, so not in Vienna or in Austria, and for you to just be there and train and maybe try your best to be really good and like be an amazing human and like be nice to everyone. And then there might be another host literally also taking the intensive or whatever it might be, and they will maybe invite you if you're like really stuck in their heads, which actually happened before to us. So we were invited to Lithuania because the host there was actually at the same convention that we were teaching. And so it's like, again, you can build connections, either training somewhere, or already teaching somewhere, and like people see you, and it's like, it goes on. But yeah, so we're excited. And I think our next stop is actually Lithuania, the girl I was just talking about. So
well, when this episode airs, we've already been there.
Oh, actually, that's true.
Yeah.
We've already actually finished our whole tour, so
I might have done something new by now. Who knows?
Shout out to all the people who are watching this in December with the sweaters on and we're here in summer gown.
Like actually sweating.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it's not technically summer anymore, really, but it's still warm.
Isn't it 21st that is like autumn?
Isn't it 23rd?
23rd. I don't know. I was always bad. I always got it wrong in primary school.
Technically, we're still in summer, so
yeah, so we're excited.
Okay, then let's continue or circle back, like you already mentioned it, to the LA stories, because there was like one event, right, that we want to talk about in specific, and I'm really interested about your story to that one.
She's like super eager to hear the answer. and it might be like very underwhelming, but I guess we wanted to talk about the situation that we had with BlocLa, because we did mention in previous talks that we actually had the amazing opportunity to go to LA and to work on a work visa, and to be signed with one of the biggest agencies, which is BlocLa, in America, but I think in the world even.
I think international.
Yeah, I don't know the exact fact, but energetically it feels like it
feels huge. So we I think it was literally when we moved to Vienna 2018. At the same time, we flew to Rome for a camp, and also they had the audition for BlocLa there. So we were like
right?
in Rome, yes. Don't remember the name of the camp, but
was it the same as Edith went to?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Edith also went to Rome.
Yeah, she actually made it. She made it. So she also went there. And we, we did the audition. And I think I can't remember how many people. Maybe it was like 10-ish people. Kind of like made the final cut, and Edith was also part of it. And so then we had the opportunity to be signed by BlocLa. Like BlocLa was like, yo, we wanna we're interested in signing you guys, like work on the work visa, and then you can, be in LA and work for us. And so that alone was like a huge blessing to be picked by like a huge agency. Like it was like almost like always a dream for us to like be on big stages, to be in America, to dance for all the artists.
Everything, yes.
And I will come back to that.
Okay.
Because it's a full circle moment.
This shit is crazy.
So it was like a huge blessing, and we did actually start the visa process. And we also flew out to LA to actually be in the offices, which was also like a crazy moment for us to sit in the office of BlocLa and like to talk to an agent. It was like super crazy.
To like get a CV by them, like an actual Block CV with my name on it. It
was like, yo, is this really happening? And then a little side story for this full circle moment. Actually, when we went to LA for the meeting with Block.
But it was not your first time in LA, right?
It was not the first time in LA, but
I think we've been to LA like 5 times by now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Always like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so during this trip, we met with BlocLa, and they actually sent us on our first audition. And guess what fucking audition that was? A fucking
3, 2, 1
Pussycat Dolls.
Yep.
Oh
Boom.
my God, I love that. Oh, okay.
That was like a full circle moment
It
because
was like the universe being please take it.
I mean, we didn't get a job. We didn't get the job, but I was there. I was happy. Okay. I was like,
Still,
I don't care.
It was a good sign.
Yeah.
Either way.
It was
like, what are the odds? There's like so many fucking auditions on artists all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was an audition for the Pussycat Dolls. Like, remember like how we said we started to dance because of them? Like that was crazy. And of course, like I saw like the founder of the Pussycat Dolls, which like for me was also like a childhood dream because obviously Robin Anton, if you maybe are familiar with it, I was like, if you're watching, no, I'm kidding. She's not watching, but it's like, I saw all the people that I knew from like my 18-year-old self, like watching like interviews like of the founder of the Pussycat Dolls, and it was just like this whole moment. And I mean, they were not there unfortunately, but So.
Yeah, it was a moment for sure. And but going back to the whole Block situation in general and the whole artist visa in general, having an artist visa or going for one is not easy, and it also takes a lot of money.
I remember that from Edith,
She probably has told you it's a lot of money. And for us, because we have just moved to Vienna, literally it was like, okay, do we stay here in Vienna and start teaching? Because literally it was like
at the same time.
Everything was happening at the same time. So we're like, okay, do we want to start teaching? Like start a new life in Vienna? Or do we want to actually go for like the dream that we always used to have? And like invest even more into our dance training, and then eventually we said no to the opportunity. First,
maybe more reasons.
There's more reasons, but the boring reason is because we just didn't have the money back then, because we just moved, and everybody knows like how much money that takes. But also another huge reason was we didn't feel energetically that we would be ready for LA. Also because we were still so attached to each other. And we just felt deep down that we still had to do something else before we would take the big step. So it's almost like we intentionally said no. You know what I mean?
Okay. But they wanted you both, right?
They wanted us both.
Have you as twins,
Yeah, okay. They wanted us both. And now looking back, like, of course, I always thought, is it the right decision? Like, I literally just said no to like one of my biggest dreams.
That must not be easy, right?
Yeah, that was not easy, and sometimes I would like still think about it and be like, I don't know if I made the right decision, but now I'm at a point where I'm like, I see clearly that it was the right decision, because I mean, we have built like our brand Power Pumps here, and it's something that we definitely would not have had if we went to LA. So like, even though we closed that door, like another door opened for us, and it's like I wouldn't have it any other way. And also because looking back now, we much more now know who we are, and also as separate human beings. So I think now if we actually went to LA, I think it would be much easier for us energetically.
I think if you go to LA and you want to pursue a career, especially like coming from the outside, it's, you really have to know who you are and what makes you unique, which we always knew the twin thing makes us unique. Yes, we always felt very confident in that. But like and I know this might sound silly, but I did not know who I was at that point. Like I if you asked me like what makes Sarah, I would literally not even be able to say like anything that was not somehow attached to her. So I think it would have, again, this is just an assumption, but it could have broken us. Maybe just being there, maybe then there would be opportunities where just one of us, would be booked up. I don't know. So it's like, looking back, I don't think we were ready. We didn't know who we are. We were like really like, not so confident in some ways yet, like we are now. So, we had to do a lot of self-work before, I think.
I guess the moral of the story is you don't have to be in LA to be successful. Like, success can have so many different looks, feels, I don't know. Because sometimes we think, right, like, oh, we have to be in LA, like we had the big names. Most of dancers think that,
right? Because like hearing somebody say no to BlocLa, that's like, that is like, everybody's like, why did you say no?
Yeah,
because that's like the dream to be in LA, right?
And it was our dream too back then, but it's like, I guess it was an inner voice, and I do believe it was like our purpose guiding us in that way, because sometimes you don't know what's the right decision, right? You just have to like lean into your gut feeling, and I guess that's what we did, even though like our head was saying like, bitch, you gotta be in LA, like not everybody gets the opportunity, you know what I mean? However, I do believe like if you follow your instinct, your gut, and your purpose, it will lead you to so much bigger and better things. Like you never know, right? So yeah.
And also sometimes you might think that you want something, like you might think, oh my god, working with Black, being in LA, sleeping in my fucking car, having no food is maybe my dream. Maybe you might think that that's your dream, but you only know if that's your dream until you get the opportunity. I don't know if that made sense, but like you can dream as long as it's like literally in front of you and it's like, do you want to take it or not? Then you really know if that's actually your dream or not. Because if you're saying yes, then obviously, like if your intuition is telling you yes, then obviously that's what you want to do. And if your intuition is telling you no in that moment, it's like, maybe I thought that I want, like that was my dream. So I guess maybe another takeaway is that, so have your dreams, have your aspirations, but don't be discouraged if like an opportunity is here all of a sudden, you're like right in front of your dream and all of a sudden you're not feeling it anymore. However, you do have to distinguish if it's fear speaking or if it's your intuition like telling you and guiding you. There is a difference as well. So, but take with that what you will. Yeah. Also, there is like a thing that, especially if you teach to really teach and if you take it serious and you actually like feel that it's a responsibility and you actually have a deeper purpose, which we have. I think there's also a thing that there was like a mothering aspect a little bit for me already, feeling inside that I'm like, if I leave now, like I don't know how to explain this well. It's like if we constantly leave and like search for better places, it's like, when is Austria gonna be a good place? Like
that's a problem we do have, because people are going away. So
exactly,
somebody's saying no to BlocLa. That's why I was so excited, because normally if you, most of the people, a lot of people go away.
Which again, like I totally get it. I get it in a way. Like it's also nothing wrong to like want to like just be somewhere else. But like for me or for us, it really felt like, okay, we really want to build this, and if I leave now, then maybe I lost the opportunity to build something great here. because we do have like a weird attachment to just being Austrian and
but also I guess I think at the end of the day it was a decision that was completely selfless, like not saying like going to LA would be selfish, but like we actually thought about like building something not just for us but also for other people in that way. So I guess our inner voice was telling us to be like selfless about it and have an impact.
And I think a lot of women are happy about it.
Yeah, have like a really big impact also on other women, not just like, am I on stage, am I dancing with the artist, but like, am I making an impact on other people, on other women, like regular women, you know, that want to start dancing. So, yeah.
Okay, wow. That was the answer I was waiting for.
I hope it was satisfying in a way.
No, I think like generally I think it's like this also like this stereotype. If you want to be a dancer, you need to go to LA. You don't need to go to LA. And if LA is not your dream, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Because there's more than one great place to dance than LA.
That's true.
And there's more places than LA that have a great industry. Austria might not have the industry. But there are other places as big as LA that have like a good industry.
True.
But we only hear a lot about LA because it's that scene that is talked about so much, and where you have a lot of videos where they film everything.
Hollywood and all this stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's just like all the social media, it's like glowing. It's like it looks so shimmering and like golden, but like at the end, as you said, like do I want to sleep in my car? Like,
I mean, maybe if you're like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, like it's not everything is for everyone. That's like that's why not everyone is doing the same thing, right?
Yeah,
not everything is for everyone. And I would just say, if you feel like this might be your dream, just go to LA if you haven't been there yet. Maybe if you can, you know, save your money and go there for a couple of weeks and try to go there with a plan. I mean, of course, always, you know, let room for flow and just, spontaneous moments to happen, like the magic, but go there with a plan. And then just come back and see if you actually like it. I mean, of course, it's not the same thing as if you were like working and living there, but maybe you don't even fucking like it at all when you were there, exactly. You know?
Yeah.
But or maybe the other way, maybe you were there and now you're like even more encouraged to do it. So I would say just try it one time and maybe that can already like lead you.
Yeah, maybe you go to a place you didn't think would be that great and then you end up being like, oh fuck, this is the place.
Yeah, and like you in Peru, you know? Right? So
yes,
it's like, let me not talk again.
That was not what I meant. Maybe a little. Yes. Exactly.
So
yeah.
Just like it's not for everyone to, you know, do the whole dance teaching thing independently. You know, some people want to be with a studio and teach for a studio and, you know, be supported in that way, and then other people just want to do their own thing and do it independently. And so it's just, you just have to go, that there's no right or wrong way. I mean, of course there's like advantages and disadvantages in like doing either way, but it's like the way we did it, it's not for everyone, and not everyone is maybe gonna succeed in that way, you know. So it's just how it is. So you just find your way and find your journey. That's okay. You don't have to be ashamed that you are not in LA or whatever it is. So yeah.
Okay, so I think we have everything covered from the first topic. Are we going to the next one?
Yes, I think we are.
Okay, the big topic we actually want to talk about.
There.
After the long introduction. No, so we want to talk a little bit about the question, what is sexy? Okay guys, I'm really sorry to cut you off so brutally, and I know it's the baddest cliffhanger ever, but we are going to cut this episode into 2 parts, as we have been talking already for quite some while, and there's even more to come, so stay tuned. We're gonna be with you again next week. We're already posting the second half of this episode next week, so you don't have to wait for long. And yeah, if you want to get to know these ladies even better, you better go check out their Instagram. They have some amazing classes going on. So yeah, you know where to find us. Grenzenlos_your_dance podcast. No, that was wrong, because our name is German on Instagram. So Grenzenlos_dein_Tanz podcast. So now we have it right. We're happy if you want to give us a 5-star recommendation on any platform. As you know, this whole project is based on volunteer work. We would be also really happy if you want to support us. We have a GoFundMe account. It is
on Instagram, I think. Yeah, you can find our biography. Definitely the link is in our Instagram biography. We'd be really happy for any support. And yeah, that's basically it. If you want to sponsor an episode or a whole season, we would be also really happy about that, and you could simply reach out to us. Okay, guys, thank you for listening, and we hear each other next week again. Bye!